Good morning. Hello. Hi. Good morning, everybody. We'll start very shortly. A couple of rules and regulations. The aisles need to be extremely clean. No one could be in the aisle. The kids will walk through the aisle, so please don't have no kids or adults in the aisle rather than your chairs. I guess that's it, right? Correction. Center aisle to be clean. And the aisles as well need to be clean.
Good morning. He said not to do that because then it gets all the air. He said to put it on the side of my mouth so it doesn't. Good morning, parents, grandparents, family, and friends. We are so very excited to have you join us here and on our live stream. Welcome to our 2023 Esformas Early Childhood Kindergarten graduation. The program this morning represents a wonderful culmination of concepts learned throughout the school year, as well as a celebration of achievements by our exceptional students. The children have worked very hard for this day and have expressed much excitement about graduating. I would like to call upon our esteemed Rosh HaYeshiva, Rabbi Luban, to please say a few words.
Okay. Thank you. There's a Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, the fourth parak, which describes the importance of teaching young children. Mishnah says, Elisha ben Avua Omer, Haloimed Yered Lemahu Daima, person who teaches a child to what is it compared to? To Dio Ksuval Nir Chodesh. You take ink and you write it on a brand new piece of parchment. Rashi, Rabbeinu Yoina, Rabbeinu Bechayo, all the Rishonim say that when you write ink on a new piece of parchment, it seeps in and it cannot be erased. Therefore, Rashi says, "Haloi me bi'alduso eino shocheach." Child never forgets. So that the importance of teaching when they're young, because whatever you teach a child when they're young remains forever. There is one slight problem. If those who have children know, the children do forget. Doesn't seem like the Mishnah. I know. I moved here from Eretz Yisrael. Lived in Eretz Yisrael for around 14 years before I came here, around 20 years ago. At that time, I had children different ages. My youngest was probably around 5. We moved to America. If you'd ask my youngest now if they know, can she speak Hebrew? It's a girl. No, can't speak. I forgot everything. And she spoke perfectly when she was in Israel. She was 5 years old. It says here that a child, when you teach a child something, they never forget. She says she forgot. So there are two answers in the Meforshim. The simple answer and the more, perhaps, radical Chiddush answer. The simple answer is that the Mishnah is not discussing, so to speak, almost a trivial teaching of teaching information that's written on the parchment of the brain. It's talking about teaching midos, feelings, attitudes, life skills, which is written not on the brain but on the heart. And what the Mishnah is saying, that the skills that a child learns when they're young last with them forever. A child learns bitochen, emunah, happiness, kindness, care, diligence. All the midas tovas that a child learns, these are the building blocks that stay with them forever. So that what the Mishnah is saying, that the most important time of teaching is at the young age, because that's when the child acquires his life skills. And these will stay with the child forever. That's a simple shot. You look at most of the Mefarshim learn that way. There is a second shot, which is a little bit more chiddushik. They bring from the Rambam, Maisa, the action that during the Rambam's time, about 1,000 years ago, there was a non-Jewish woman, an older woman, who never learned to read, never learned any, Avi was totally uneducated. She couldn't speak any languages except her own language. And she went into a coma. She got some disease. And in her coma, she started speaking Latin and Hebrew, Lashon Kodesh. She was a non-Jewish woman. She's speaking Lashon Kodesh. She's speaking Latin. She's speaking Greek. So they don't understand what's happening. So they investigated. They started writing down what she said, and they checked it. And they discovered that when she was a young girl, she lived in the house of a priest. And the priest was an educated priest, and he used to read actually in Latin and in Hebrew the actual text. She didn't know what he was saying, but it went into her brain. And of course she forgot it, and if you would ask her, she would never remember, but it's still there. It's just a problem that she can't retrieve it, but it's still in the back of her head, and therefore when she got this disease, it brought out the information. So this second shot is that a child's information is still there. They might not be able to retrieve it, but it's still in the back of their head. So it means, say my daughter learned Hebrew, she was 5, the rest of her life she has the advantage that she knows Hebrew. She opens up a text, she'll recognize words because she learned Hebrew, even though she doesn't realize that she knows it, and she won't be able to speak. Either way, what comes out is that learning at a young age is extremely, extremely important. It's probably the most important age of learning. When you get older, people think the most important age is you teach Beis Medrash, Yeshiva Gedola, but really the most important age of education is when the child is young. And therefore, it's obviously a tremendous simcha. I'm sure all of us have, especially the parents and the teachers, and the Rabbeim and the yeshiva, that to see the children graduating, they've mastered the skills, they mastered the knowledge, they're able to move on now with taking these building blocks and to apply it. And we just want to give a bracha that Be'ezus Hashem, all the Talmidot, all the students should continue growing in Midas Tovas and Mitochen and Emunah Kodesh Baruch Hu, in the right midas bein adam lechavero, bein adam lemakom, and to grow up to be a true source of nachas to all of us. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Luban, for sharing that meaningful message. Your representation here today is most appreciated. We kindly ask that you take a moment to silence your cell phones. Immediately following the performance, we will be calling each child to center stage to receive their diploma from their teachers. We will pause briefly so your child can be photographed. We kindly ask you to be ready with your cameras when you hear your child's name called. Please remain seated during the performance so that the guests behind you can enjoy as well. Thank you very much, and without further ado, we proudly present the Yeshiva Toras Chaim Toras Emes Kindergarten Graduating Class of 2023, Tuf Shin Pei Gimel.
Bruchim Abayim and welcome to our graduation. We practiced and worked hard on this presentation. 56. We learned Quia and Vita. It was a focus. And the fourth phonic kudos. We can easily blend with all the OCOs. to add, numbers to take away. Letters and diagrams we're proud to say. We can read and blend words. Hip hip hooray! This is a cookie summer Torah Semes is a place where we all grow and shine. It makes me treasure all the learning to keep it 'cause it's mine. We hope to give you lots of messas as we continue to shine.
Girls, you were unbelievable. You sang beautifully and performed exquisitely. Great job, girls. We are so proud of you, and you should be so incredibly proud of yourselves. You have worked hard and accomplished great things. And to you, the parents of these fantastic children, Mazel Tov on this wonderful milestone. It is truly unbelievable how much each child has grown in the last 10 months. Words cannot express our deepest gratitude for your continued support and involvement. Thank you for entrusting us with your children's education and personal development, and for collaborating with us to cross the finish line together. May they bring you much nachas as they continue on their journey. We would like to express our immense hakaras hatov to the kindergarten teachers who make our program, there you guys are, such a success. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, passion, and gift of teaching. The dedication and hard work that you demonstrate day in and day out is immeasurable and truly valued. The children are very lucky to have such wonderful teachers. Mrs. Batsheva Blackstone, Mrs. Ellie Ben-Shatrit, somewhere, Miss Naomi Burston, Mrs. Sarah Farkas, Mrs. Rena Gruenstein, Mrs. Racheli Handler, Mrs. Cheryl Rosenthal, and Mrs. Miriam Weeder. Thank you so much to Mrs. Bryna Roth and Mrs. Yael Atia for the countless hours spent planning this wonderful celebration and the hard work put in to make it such a success. Thank you to Mrs. Eliza Skotsky, Mrs. Esty Fladen, and Mrs. Shiffy Goldberger for your constant assistance and support. Thank you to Mr. Avram Eliezer Friedman, Mr. Carlos Chata and his crew, and Mrs. Nechama Yellen for your technical support and expertise. Thank you so much to Rabbi Wiener and Mr. Isaac Akrish and his team for preparing the tent for today's ceremony. Thank you to Rabbi Bauman, who's also here as a grandparent, for your priceless support and guidance. The children will now be called up to receive their diplomas. We kindly ask that you keep the aisles and exits clear so that the children may return safely from stage. When you're finished taking photos with your children, please return the caps and gowns to the kindergarten teachers. Thank you and Mazel Tov.
Perla Wachnon and Leah Yaari. Perla Ederai and Batsheva Summer. Yafa Wiskowski and Rena Stern. Hodiah Kirsch and Hadassah Warner. Abigail Itchikov and Chaya Schneidman. Michal Azenkot and Noya Yefraimov. Ricky Soroka and Avishag Salia. Alana Harosh and Yocheved Peled. Ava Ofek and Naama Farron. Gitti Berkman and Penina Ludner. Eliana Markovitz and Bracha Kier. Chaya Braina Hollander and Devorah Ben-Gigi. Razy Dreyfus and Ricky Nierenberg. Ahuva Hauser and Basi Alper. Pippi Parsons and Miriam Rosenberg. Yocheved Kesserman and Emma Berman. Elisheva Labrie and Tehila Barda. Dasi Yuchananov. Ladies and gentlemen, the Esformas Early Childhood Class of 2023, Tafshin Pei Gimel Mazel Tov. Please be sure to clear the aisles so that the graduates can walk back down through the center. Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.